In this episode, we'll visit a homeowner who's going native, plus bringing renewable energy to a small village, and looking at climate conditions on an island. All of this and much, much more on Better Planet TV.
I live in the borough of Lemoyne, which is just across the river from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just a couple blocks from the Susquehanna River in the Yellow Breeches watershed. Well, my yard looked exactly like the yard next door, which was all grass. I wanted to garden and I wanted cut flowers was the initial thing. I wanted to have cut flowers for my table. An English cottage garden is how I started out. And then later I learned how invasive ivy was and vinca. Between the two of them, they create deserts and kill all the other plants and don't feed any native insects or native birds. I decided to go native, so now I'm converting all to native plants to create biodiversity and feed the birds and the native insects. I had no idea about anything about stormwater when I first started this, and then as I went to seminars, I learned more about all these issues. First of all, one of the things I learned was that stormwater just carries everything down the street, the oil from your cars and people not picking up dog dew and litter and everything like that. So that really concerns me. But also, my community, as well as many others, are under an EPA order to update their stormwater systems to comply with the Clean Water Act. So all that stormwater just running into the street is just costing us money and polluting the Susquehanna River and the Chesapeake Bay, because of all this dirt and sediment just running down in there. And that's why I planted the area between the street and the sidewalk as a little planting area rather than just having grass, because I thought, well, that would catch some of the rain. Grass really absorbs hardly any rainwater. It's supposed to be very close to concrete in terms of absorption of rainwater. And also I planted a rain garden from my downspout to collect some of my stormwater too, which is a huge way that homeowners can affect that problem. Just dig a little trench and you improve the soil and you plant plants that are used to living in wet areas. Native grasses and shrubs and trees, they have deep roots, so they create areas for the water to flow down into the water table so that our aquifers are refilled and the water doesn't flow off of your property. It stays on your property and feeds your plants. I'll show you how to cut these grasses back in the spring. Once you see this green here, of course, everybody wants to have a no-maintenance garden. The sad reality is there's no such thing, so you want to try to get the low maintenance. And then you can do the next, okay? That's what I've been trying to achieve all these years, so I really try to have a lot of ground covers. I usually leave my leaves if I can, because the leaves really are the best mulch you can have. And I try to plant things that I can just cut back once a year. Native plants, you should not cut them back in the fall. You should leave them there for winter interest because they do create really pretty scenes. But also, the birds can eat the things in your garden over the winter if you don't clean it up. And the native insects a lot of times lay their eggs in the stalks of plants. So I really don't do too much maintenance. My neighbors are out mowing their lawns every week in the summer, and I just don't go out in the summer when it's too hot, other than to, get my vegetables and cut some flowers. So initially, when I first started it, people were laughing at me, saying, "Did you kill your husband? Are you burying him?" Because I was digging and digging and digging and digging for hours and all hours into the night because I was so excited about what I was doing. But as time went on, young kids and the people who walk just get really into my garden and get excited about the birds they'd see when they walk by.
This property provides the 4 basic habitat elements needed for wildlife.
Hey, Shirley. Hi, guys. How are you?
A couple weeks ago, one lady actually said that she makes a special intention of walking by my garden because she just gets this cool, peaceful feeling when she walks by. And there could be no better reward for my work than that. I think a good way to start would be to create a small rain garden from your downspout. Do it a little bit at a time so that it's manageable, and just create beds. You can create beds at the corner of your property. A lot of people have created a combination garden where you have a lawn for your kids to play in, and then they can be surrounded by these buffers of native planting and rain gardens and things like that with a lawn. There's no reason you can't have both. My garden has become a wonderful educational tool for my neighbors and my friends. I had little signs just to try to teach people about how this type of a garden absorbs so much more water than the grass that they have. I don't think people are aware of the stormwater concerns, and it's going to cost us millions of dollars to, to take care of it, make sure it's not polluting our bay.
All right, you want to try this one? Sure.
It's been really exciting to, have people really enjoy it and appreciate it after the initial skepticism. In fact, one of the ladies down here at the corner just started planting her area between her street and her sidewalk, so that made me really excited that I might have inspired someone.
And we'll see you guys later.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Better Planet TV continues after this break. Welcome back to Better Planet TV. Afghanistan has many ethnic groups and is a war-torn country. It also lacks infrastructure, meaning that remote communities have long been isolated from the modern world. However, in the far northeast of the country, an international community project is bringing reliable, renewable electricity and the wealth of opportunities that come with it. It's rush hour in Badakhshan, one of the least developed corners in one of the least developed countries in the world. Only 3% of households here have any electricity at all. A few years ago, the German Agency for International Cooperation, otherwise known as GIZ, and the engineering firm Integration teamed up with the Afghan government to improve energy supply in rural areas. One part of their program was installing hydropower plants for isolated villages to show the potential of renewable energy for the whole country. 6 plants with a total capacity of nearly 1.3 megawatts have been installed so far.
We're here in a side valley of the Kokcha River, where there's a road and a bazaar. We believe that in this environment, you can do a lot for rural development by providing electricity.
Badakhshan is a tough place for any development project. Though far from Afghanistan's main conflict zones, corruption is endemic and society is divided along rigid ethnic lines. Before work on a hydro plant could even begin, roads had to be improved and built from scratch in some places, so that turbines and other equipment could be brought in. As much as possible was built on site. The program trained local workers and employed them to build canals and poles for power cables. Some communities refused to work together, so they were given different roles, working apart, though towards a common goal. Other skills were needed too: electricians to connect shops and houses to the new grid, and engineers to keep the turbines running smoothly. All decisions involving local people are channeled through traditional village councils, with care given at every stage to share the benefits fairly among the different ethnic groups.
Together with the Afghans, we decide where a power plant can be built, like here in Fargambo. Villages around the power plant are then connected one by one. This is done under the supervision of Afghan engineers.
Each plant is run by a leaseholder who is responsible for the operation and maintenance of the power plant and the distribution of electricity. Households and businesses pay the leaseholders for their electricity, with the amount they've used recorded on meters. Users must also sign up to a strict code of conduct, pledging not to use heaters or power-hungry tools at times of peak demand. Farmers must agree not to grow opium as a condition of getting power from the hydro plant. As a result, the poppy cultivation has stopped completely in some villages. Together with the new roads, electricity has invigorated entire communities. Some people have even returned from the towns to take advantage of the electricity to start businesses. Since 2008, electricity has reached 110 public buildings, 640 businesses, and benefited 63,000 people.
Since we've had electricity up here, my business is going well. The farmers bring their corn and get the flour back, and I earn some money. I'd like to do some more work and maybe set up an oil press.
Many businesses have sprung up in the bazaar. We now have carpenters making doors and windows.
Unlike some other foreign development projects, this program is working with the special factions within Afghan society. Women and girls have seen significant benefits too, with TV and radio making women feel less isolated and providing knowledge of the wider world, as well as specific information such as helplines for victims of domestic violence. Whatever the future might bring for Afghanistan, this is a program with its foundations planted firmly enough in local society to have the potential for lasting impact.
The German government and others will continue this approach, and it's hoped more power plants will be developed. How that will be done is currently being decided, but there is long-term planning of power plants for rural development. I can't say how much will be realized, but I hope it's a lot.
Electricity will lead to a social transformation. I am absolutely sure electricity will make people's life easier and much more pleasant.
Better Planet TV continues after this break. Welcome back to Better Planet TV. What does Glendale Water and Power and SIVA, a digital photo frame company, have in common? Both have teamed up to provide important data on home electric and water use to help customers save money.
We started SIVA back in 1999 with the belief that photos should be shared and displayed where people are, not on their computers, not in albums. We have a connected photo frame. In the middle of the night, our frame makes a quick connection, either over Wi-Fi or even over a plain old telephone line, to get pictures that people have sent. When you wake up in the morning, your pictures are displayed in a slideshow for you. We designed the SIVA digital picture frame to look just like a picture frame. The SIVA photo frame will show your pictures in a slideshow over and over again. What we do is while you're watching your slides, we'll put information in, communication from Glendale Water and Power about rebates, or we'll show how much your house is using at any one time. For instance, right now, 16 cents an hour, which really turns into about $115 a month. It's meant to inform and educate the homeowner. This is our 19-inch model called the Pro 190. It's meant to be hung on the wall and can also get the energy information just like the tabletop model could in the kitchen.
We've worked very, very closely with SIVA to develop their frame to integrate with our smart meters, and it's a perfect marriage. Couldn't be better. We now have a home device that allows customers to be truly engaged with not only their own personal pictures, which is what this frame was developed for in the first place, but to be able to actually interface and interact with Glendale Water and Power by understanding how much energy they're using, how much water they're using, what it's costing them, how they compare with what they did last week, last year, and so on.
Glendale Water and Power installed the smart energy meter on my home. Looks pretty much like a regular meter, but you'll notice the spinning wheel that we're all used to growing up is gone. It's been replaced with a digital display. The meter also allows to create what they call a home area network inside your home. It allows devices like the SIVA frame to talk to the meter and get instantaneous electrical use information. For homeowners who want to learn a little more about their energy, they can go into the SIVA Energy Dashboard. The Energy Dashboard is meant to give them an overview of what their house is using for energy. We have electricity, and we also have water in Glendale that we track. Right now, my house is using 11 cents an hour. Might not seem like a lot, but when you look at that in a month view, it's almost $80 a month. The meter will talk to the frame, and you can see that just by turning the kitchen lights on, it went up 7 cents, over $50 a month. If we turn on our air conditioner, you'll notice that it went from 18 cents to 43 cents. That's a jump of 25 cents, and as soon as the compressor comes on, it goes up even more. If I ran my air conditioner constantly, that's over $600 a month.
It's not only can they see what they're using, but the frame does have the ability and eventually will interface with appliances, pool pump, thermostat within the home, so that the customer wants to control their appliances based on the cost of energy at any given time. That will all happen automatically from the meter to the frame to the appliance.
As more and more smart energy meters are put on people's homes, you'll actually see more and more in-home devices educating the consumer, informing the consumer.
The biggest benefit we've found is in locating water leaks for our customers. Now that we're measuring water in near real time, we can look and see that something's amiss with a customer, and we actually call them and say, we think you have a leak, and they'll check, and they won't even know it half the time, and they'll tell us, you know, you're right, thank you very much. That has already saved our customers a substantial amount of money. It's saved a lot of water. That just one simple application has been tremendously beneficial. We've already seen hard evidence that when a customer has access to its own real-time use, it automatically does what we like to call the Prius effect here. If you've ever, people that drive Priuses or hybrid cars are generally always looking to see what their miles per gallon is, and when they do that, they actually increase their miles per gallon. Same thing occurs on the smart meter. As people look to see how much energy they're using at any given time, when they see what it really looks like, they're incented to bring that down. We already know that there's a significant efficiency and conservation effect associated with the smart meter.
The appetite for energy in this country is continuing to go up. It's not going down. We have electric cars, we have Xbox games, we have multiple computers. We need to be smarter about how we consume our energy. And the first thing is understanding how your energy is being used in your home. Then you can make the decisions about conserving. Every day they're saving money, and it's their choice. It's them being empowered to save money.
This truly is a transition in how power is provided, and water too for that matter, from the first 100 years of the electric and water utility here in Glendale to the next, well, I'll say 100, but certainly it's a benchmark transition in how we do things. Glendale Water and Power is one of the greenest utilities in the state of California. We currently provide about 24% of all of our energy through renewable sources. That includes wind, solar, hydro, landfill gas, geothermal, so we're quite green here in Glendale.
Better Planet TV continues after this break. Welcome back to Better Planet TV. While debate continues over the existence of global warming, the residents of the Pacific island of Kiribati are today facing the reality of what might happen on a global scale if some scientists are right. Swelling ocean waves are forcing many here to move farther inland. But each time they move, the sea follows.
In the case of Kiribati, one of the biggest threats is a sea level rise. And that's because Kiribati, which is composed of 33 low-lying atolls, is no more than 4 meters high at the highest point. And in Kiribati, we can say that 100% of the population lives within 1 kilometer of the coast. So the country is extremely vulnerable.
My fish house is about 20 meters from here, 15 meters to 20 meters.
Bubu Tir Ram stands on the beach and explains that his first house once stood on a spot now covered in waves. Tiaram had to move 3 times in the past decade as the shoreline steadily receded before the rising tide.
Given that the scientific research shows that by 2100, it's almost certain now that we'll have more than 1 meter of sea level rise. On a flat island like Kiribati, that amount of sea level rise comes very far inland. So it's a very serious situation, and for that reason, the government is looking at options for relocating the population.
But for right now, people are building simple seawalls to gain protection from the encroaching ocean. And villagers are worried about the future and wonder if their lives will ever be the same.
When I came here in 2002, this place now has been completely changed. Now, as you can see, it's like a swamp, right? How many more years time, and then it will be completely nobody live in this village.
And that's this edition of Better Planet TV. See you next time as we learn to make our world a better place.